In this video, I'm going to show you a practical example of how to use top-level code and basically what top-level code is, where you can use it, and how you can use it as such. So without any further ado, let's just jump straight in. In our Xcode project, this is a simple command line application. So there's literally only a main.swift file, and we have this other group with this other .swift file in there, which we'll come to in just a second. If we build and run the code, you'll see down the bottom that it prints out what we expect, practical example of top-level code. Because this is the main.swift file, you are permitted to have top-level code. All right, and just to show another example of that, we could also use a code block in here, and we can say hello from the code block 2. And if we build and run it once again, you can see that we get practical example of top-level code and hello from the code block. Now, however, if we then remove this, we cut this out and we place this this code block in the other .swift file, at the moment we can see that statements are not allowed at the top level. The compiler is already moaning at us, and if we try and build and run this, you're going to see it's going to be failed. We're still getting the previous example printed out down here. So you can see that we can't do that. What we can do, however, if we just remove this and put it back to the main, just to show you that we are all still getting everything compiling, and we run it once again, and you can see that it's finished running and we've got the output. Everything was all hunky-dory and fine. Now we've got variable declarations in here, and we've also got then two variable declarations. One's just a string, and one is then a anonymous function. It's just a callback function, basically a lambda function. I know so many programming languages that I don't really remember what each one's called when I make videos, because it's too much stress on me to suddenly think about it. Anyway, we have a function here that takes a string as a parameter and then just uses the print function to say hello and then whatever name or text or whatever that you get put into it. So we are able to import that and then say hello, and then here we can then say David here. And if we then build and run this, we can see that we get the practical example, hello from the code block, and then hello David here once again. Now what we are also able to do is say here, if I spell it correctly, or use the uppercase, and we just say here, and let's just use David Thorne here rather than just the variable name. And if we say hello here, and we see in the other file that we've got a name variable being exported as such, let's call it, it's accessible from other files within inside this module, we can build and run this too, and we can see that we get the output required. So the entry points to the application predominantly is where the main.swift file is. Now you can do a different style of application entry points by using other methods, but in this example all we care about is focusing on what top-level code is. So you can only use top-level code in basically your entry point file, all right, and that's it. Any other files, you can only have declarations, okay? You can't actually execute any code. You can have code that can be executed, but you can't execute it in that one code. So we could make structs here, we could make classes here, we could put anything as many times we want in this one file as possible, but it cannot be executed in that file. So you can't have, we couldn't say hello here and say John. This would not be permitted because expressions are not allowed at the top level. So this is what you've got to understand. If you want to use code and you want to execute it upon the application starting, then you've got to put it inside the entry point file, and in this scenario it's the main.swift. In other places it'll be in the app delegate and so on, or in the main function, other examples of this. So I hope you've got something out of this. This is what top level code is, and I hope I've explained it as easily as possible, because it's not really much more to it than that. If you are thinking that it is more complicated than that, it's really honestly not. This is basically it. All right, thanks very much then, and I'll see you in the next video.